Murphy, Achilles last year. Let's hope he can have a good, healthy season for the Tigers. Little chip short to Thompson, who now drills it long inside 50. Setting himself is Morton. Carlton have the extra number in Thornton. Throw in.
The Blues have, every time they've got the ball, they've had someone running into space. The Tigers, that was their first foray forward, and they looked a bit stagnant early, moving into the forward 50.
They haven't got a ruckman here, the Tigers. Terrible setup there by Richmond.
And Carazzo was caught high. Advantage paid. It wasn't much of an advantage, but they're off and running now. Carlton again. Scotland short to Simpson. They're just racking up the stats at the moment, the Blues players. Just chasing tail, Richmond. Smother on the mark was by Edwards. Here comes Houlihan after a good weight shepherd. And another good kick to half forward. And is that a free kick to Walker? No. Play on. Weight, good hands to Simpson. The Blues build again. Simpson in two minds. Not a great kick off the side of the boot. Let himself down there, and it's mopped up by Delidio, who hasn't got much on offer, and goes back into the goal square by hand.
Thursfield goes the long option, and Hislop couldn't quite hang on. Anderson's got it for the Blues, but well tackled. Hislop, having failed to take the mark, wasn't going to let his opponent get away with the footy.
The disposals, Tim, 48-18.
Matty, does it annoy you when midfielders have a bounce and your first lead is usually your best is mucked up?
Yeah, they could have got another shot on goal there, the Blues.
Simpson just shouldn't have gone that bounce.
Gives to McLean, very good early. Helping there, couldn't hang on, got it. Satanta running it, rolling it, going it. The Blues have four. They're all in the act. Waite, Henderson, O'Halpin, and Murphy's kicked the other one.
For 6 months we've been asking ourselves, where are they going to get the goals without Favola? And the three talls have gone with it. It was a fantastic setup with Eddie Betts at their feet, and they could not have asked for a better start. The Richmond midfield has to start getting their hands on the ball because they're putting too much pressure on the young Tigers defence.
Dacos, O'Halpin.
Yeah, and there's that bounce by Simpson, and it just mucked the Carlton forwards up. He carried the ball too long. Richmond defenders able to cover. And, yeah, it looks good for the player with the football, but a forward's best lead is usually his first lead, and you have to honour that.
Cousins jams it on the left, and with a bit of luck finds Morton. Might be in with a chance here to kick the goal. The big wind-up from 55. He unloads a monster, but it's offline and through for a point.
Well, Morton kicked 41 goals last year, career best effort by him. Morton and Riewoldt given the opportunity in Richo's absence, and I just thought he showed a lot. Surprised he started on the bench.
Mark taken by Robinson on defensive 50.
Thanks, Jack. That's it.
It's been 23 Carlton marks to 5 to the Tigers. Just shows how well they're using the ball and getting each other into the game.
And Russell's kick goes back to Robinson, who drives it down the members' wing to half forward, and that's a great one-hander taken by Walker. Into the pocket. Betts has found some space. Good spoil by Moore. And the acting captain for Carlton just making his, as Richo watches on, making his presence felt early in the match. Ooh. Just as well he missed. That was a fair swat.
There is a reportable offence called attempting to.
Yeah. Cousins. Now Hislop. Oh, it's messy for Richmond already. Bad signs early. Waite to Murphy. Kicks into the pocket. Eddie Betts couldn't take the one-hander. Farmer grabs him. He's trying to spin out of trouble. Does well to get boot to ball. Not the required distance. Play on is the call. Newman's run down. Desperate times for the Tigers in defence. It spills over to McLean. It's another one for Carlton. Could be a long year, Tim, for that man.
Didn't take long for him to find out how it feels.
Well, Damien Hardwick, welcome to senior AFL coaching. Carlton's jumped out of the blocks with 5 goals. Not only 5 goals, but goals to the players you want to get amongst the action. Waite, Henderson and Brock McLean with that last one.
Too high. Richard Tambling, your free kick against you, Andrew. Forearm into the head.
Sean Ryan calling that, grand final umpire. Tambling's free kick. The Tigers desperate for a goal. Desperate for some breathing space, some oxygen in the game. Simmons long into the 50, Rewalt. Couldn't hang on. Mason was there. Is that a hold to Hislop? It wasn't. A lot of navy blue jumpers converge. There'll be a ball up.
Came out the back and then back under. Straight up, guys.
What an emphatic start by Carlton.
And not only that, Tim, Robbie Warnock, number 11, his first game for the Blues. There's Cruiser's come off. He'll come back on and replace Warnock in the ruck any minute. He's rucked for the first 15 minutes as Warnock.
Rewalt pinching it off Warnock's hand. Now Hislop has another go, and the Tigers have their first. They've conceded 5, but they have one.
Have a look at the Richmond forward setup. Jack Rewalt, 1 out. They've got a player in front of him, but you cannot ask for a better setup than that. The Richmond midfielders need to get their hands on the footy.
Fine. These guys straight up. Straight up. Here we go.
It'll be Warnock against Simmons. Warnock reaches over the top, got the tap. Scotland somehow prizes the ball out of the pack, and a beautiful bullet-like handball to Carazzo, who gives it off to Walker, who goes into the pocket looking for Betts.
What I've liked about the Blues early is they've been in probably 2 contests where they could easily trail in and let Richmond take a mark, but they've been on them at every occasion, whereas Richmond just seem to be second-guessing themselves and being second to the ball on every occasion.
Cruiser works his way to the front. Good tap to Betts. Couldn't get a boot on it. And here's Martin. The hot draft pick for Richmond. Gives it off to another first gamer for the Tigers and Farmer. And there's another one in Relton Roberts, and he's off and running. Gets past Henderson and kicks to half forward. Rewalt has found some space. Kicks poor, smothered off the boot. And a throw in about 75 out from the Tigers' goal.
He looks good on the burst, doesn't he, Rob?
He's got a bit of toe. Good to see him back himself.
Warnock taking it comfortably out of the air. Simpson, Houlihan, Carazzo. Tambling has him covered. He played on, has to get rid of it, and had no one to give to. Now Nahas as the Tigers reload. Kick another, and they could just start to get a bit of a feel for this. This is Connors kicking into the corridor. Can be dangerous. Nason did just enough. As though his season might have been over when he hurt his knee in Launceston, but here he is playing in round 1. That's a bad fumble by Farmer. Time to mop it up. Thursfield, McGuan. Now the Tigers build a little more carefully. Hislop again, who kicked their opening goal. Now the captain, Newman, to Cousins. Low, flat kick. Didn't have enough penetration. And Waite in the back half.
He pushed back, Tim. I watched Jared Waite. He left the half-forward line, saw they were under siege, got back to be an extra number, and it worked.
Kicks in the Cruiser direction.
Last minute or so, Rob, we've seen the young players of Richmond get themselves into the game, but when you're 4 or 5 goals down early in a match, you need your senior leaders